Okay, I'm going to try to get this video right this time. I'm going to show you how to do linear regression on Excel. So what I have here is 11 data values that I put in, and so there's a spreadsheet you can download that has an example, but you have to delete some things and fill in. So you might just want to start from the beginning. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to insert a column here so I can find mean, median, mode of my data. So the mean is the average, and you notice it comes up here, double click, and you enter the cell array that you want to find the average for, and it'll do it for you. In your paper, you'd explain how you find the average. Median, same thing. B2 to B12. And the mode. The mode doesn't always work. We'll see if it, I don't know if there's a mode in this data. Not applicable. None of the values repeat. You might have to do the mode by hand just to make sure. The other thing you may want to do is to sort your data. And so if you want to sort your data, make sure you highlight it all so that the data values stay together. And we'll sort by hours of sleep. So now it's least to greatest, but it kept the values together. And so to calculate your R value, you need to have these columns filled. And the way you do a formula is you type equals. I did that for the mean, median, mode as well. And I want to multiply this together. So I'm going to click here, do times, and then I click here. And that's going to multiply that value together. And then all I have to do is grab this corner and drag it. And it'll copy the formula for everything. I need the formula for squaring the x value. So I'm going to hit equals. And I want to square that specific value. I'm going to drag it down. It's going to fill that formula in. And then I'm going to hit the y value, square it. And then I can just drag that formula down. So if you notice over here, these summations, I'm going to need to total the xy's. I'm going to need to total the x squareds and the total of the y squareds. I also should find the mean of the y values. So that'd be C2 to C12. Okay, so those are the things I need to calculate R using this formula up here. A couple things I'm going to do to clean this up a little bit. I want to center this just to make it look nicer. Okay, so I need the total of the xy's, the total of the x squareds, and the total of the y squared. So I'm going to do that by typing equals sum, and it's D2 to D12. And then I'll just drag that over it. When you go to do this, if the numbers are too big that you can't see them, you need to make your columns bigger. And I'm gonna go ahead and center these so they clean up a little bit. All right, so the R value comes from three things. It comes from what's called the covariance, comes from the standard deviation of X and the standard deviation of Y. And there's different ways to calculate standard deviation. We're going to use these formulas over here. So for the covariance, I'm going to do a formula, and so I hit equals. I need the total of the xy. So this number right here, divided by n, which is 11. There's 11 values, minus the average of the x's, which is that, times the average of the y's, which is that. That's going to give me my covariance. With the standard deviation, I'm going to take, and I'm going to find the number under the square root, and then I'll take the square root. So I'm going to do equals the sum of the x squareds divided by 11 minus the x value squared. And that's the first calculation. And then I'm going to take square root of that. So I hit equals, and the square root comes up. And take the square root and click on that cell. So here is my standard deviation of the x's. For the y's, I'm going to do what's underneath the equal sign, or underneath the square root sign. So it's the sum of the y squareds divided by 11 minus the mean of the y's squared. And then I'm going to take the square root of that. Square root of this cell right here. So my R value, so these two calculations were just part of finishing it. To find the R value using this formula, I'm going to take and type in equals, because I'm doing a formula, the covariance divided by a key here, parentheses, these two multiplied together. So I have a pretty strong R value, 0.98. And so that would be similar to what you get if you put this in list 1 and this in list 2 and you do linear regression and make sure your diagnostics are turned on. That would be pretty similar. The other thing you can do when you have these in Excel, and you should do, is highlight the data values and go insert. I might even highlight the whole column and see if it puts the labels on it. Insert, and then there's charts here, and there's recommended charts. And I'm going to choose this one because it's a scatter plot. I don't want these lines on here. And so I'm going to modify the and put a trend line on it. I want a linear trend line, and I want to display R squared. And I'm going to get rid of this plotting somehow. I'll let you mess with that later. I don't remember how to get those little lines off there. I could have chosen a different graph. But minus these little lines connecting all my points, I have a trend line on there that is my equation that I should get for linear regression. I do my calculator. So you notice R squared is 0.9671. Well, our R value is 0.9834. If we squared that, we took this, or if we took the square root of this, because that's our R squared. Sorry. We square this, notice you get the same R value that you get when you run through the Excel. So it's good just to it's good to verify. The other thing you need to do is modify your chart. Up here is a way to modify the chart and change your titles and your data labels and that kind of thing. I'm going to let you work your way through that stuff. So this should be able to help you get through finding the linear regression.